Okay, here's something else that you can do in the moment to shift your stress level. And it's something that in hypnosis we refer to as reframing. Do you remember before when I mentioned that one of the things that you can do is just ask yourself the question, what's really going on here? Because so many times it's not the event that's stressing you out, but the story that you're telling in the event, all the stuff that you're piling on top of the event. Well, reframing is like that. It's like sort of like telling a new story, but it's using your imagination to change sort of the movie that's going on in your head. So I'll give you an example. I was recently helping someone out with some projects, and there was a lot to do, and I was feeling a little overwhelmed with projects, and like I just had so much to do. And so I kept giving myself suggestions because I was starting to get stressed. I kept giving myself suggestions to have fun with this process and enjoy the work, embrace the work instead of getting stressed out. So one day I'm in the middle of dealing with these projects and I get this text saying, I have another project for you. And normally I would have instantly gone into, oh my God, I would have instantly gone into stress mode. Oh my God, I have so much to do. I can't, blah, blah, blah. But because I had kept giving myself these suggestions for shifting this, my subconscious kicked in and my imagination kicked in. And I pictured something different. Instantly, I hear the words, your mission, should you choose to accept it. And I instantly start hearing the music from the Mission Impossible show. Right? I instantly hear that. And so in that moment, it shifted from me feeling like this overworked, overwhelmed, how am I going to get this all done, to now I'm like an elite government spy who's been given this mission that no one else can handle, but they know I can handle it. I instantly shifted what I was imagining in my head. Now, it sounds really silly, and it is kind of silly, but you know what? It worked. It worked. It shifted it. So I felt empowered and I took it on as a challenge instead of going into overwhelm and stress. Another thing you can do is, or another thing that you can imagine is, let's say you have someone in your life who's really stressing you out. Maybe it's an authority figure who, a boss or somebody like that who's just, they're just kind of, berating you, or they're on you, they're just sort of driving you nuts. What you can do is imagine that person shrinking down, teeny tiny, just becoming little teeny tiny, and literally standing in the palm of your hand. And you can hear their voice. And instead of hearing their voice the way their voice normally is, imagine it's like one of those little cartoon chipmunk voices, or like a mouse kind of voice, me, 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 me. Imagine this person giving you this whole tirade of stuff, standing in the palm of your hand, sounding like a cartoon chipmunk. You know what? If you imagine that in your head while they're talking to you, it's going to be so much harder for you to get stressed out. In fact, you may even have to fight the urge to laugh, but it's going to shift the emotion around it. Again, I know it sounds silly, but it works. Another thing you can imagine is sometimes we tend to get really disappointed and down on ourselves with the way that something turned out. Oh my God, this is so horrible. I did such a horrible job. Think of life like a lump of clay. If you've ever thrown a lump of clay down, now imagine if you just threw it down and looked at it and went, oh, well, that's crap. Obviously, I am no good at art with clay. That's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. You can take that clay and you can mold it with your hands and change it and shift it into something that you want it to be. So always think of life as being like that. It's not finished. It's not stuck. You're not stuck. You're not done. You're in process. You can always change it. So get your hands in the clay and shift it and change it. If you shift that and imagine that, you know what, I need to get my hands in the clay now. I need to shift this and change this. That's really going to shift the way that stuff is happening for you. And come up with other ideas, right? Play with these. And the more you start getting used to reframing or telling a new story, holding a different movie in your head about what's going on, you're going to get better at it. And your imagination is going to come up with some really fun stuff in the moment. The more often you do this, the better you're going to get at it. And it really, really will help with stress in the moment.